Hello, 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 and welcome to another segment of the DrStem show. Here's what I wish for all of you that will be watching this. I wish you were the fly on the wall before we started. We happen to be talking about confidence today, and I wish you were on the fly on the wall. We are in 3 different states, is my assumption, right?
Yes.
Or are we in 2 different states? I'm in Florida.
3.
Doc, where are
I'm in
you?
Tennessee. I'm in Tennessee.
And I'm in Indiana.
We're in 3 different states. So it was just shenanigans, which I love about being a woman, because then, we have everything all set and then we are ready. And right at the moment, everything seems to just go left, is what I
Yep.
So I want to welcome 2 phenomenal guests with me today. I have Dr. Taffy Sithole, and I also have Tino G. Chinembiri. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Oh my goodness. So, you know how at the beginning of the year, you want to do new things, you pray for new avenues, you pray for new connections. I'm a Christian, so let me just put out, there that I'm a believer and I believe in God and I pray. So I prayed that this year will be filled with divine connections, divine interventions, and divine opportunities. So I wake up one of the days before, this new year starts, and guess what? I have an email from these 2 beautiful ladies, and they have a program which they will talk about Zim Ladies Roundtable, right? Did I say that?
Yes. Yes, perfect.
And I said, Zim Ladies Roundtable, what is that, right? So they are inviting me to their Instagram interview. They can interview me. I said, me? Who are you? Right? So then, of course, I might be old, but I'm young at heart. I said, let me Google Zim. I was like, what? They are everywhere on the internet, everywhere, on social media, everywhere on YouTube. I'm like, okay, so am I the only one that didn't know about these ladies here? So needless to say, I went on their show, and you can, see it in Zim Ladies, Roundtable on YouTube. It's now available, the interview there. I was so impressed, and I said, you know what? I'm going to return the favor. I'm going to invite both of you to come to my roundtable, and let's have a roundtable.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited that you're both here today with me. And before I start, let me just, I wrote, as I was writing, a little bit of introduction, I wrote, yippee! No, I'm so extra. I literally wrote, yippee! I'm so excited to have with me Tino and Dr. Taffy with me here. But because of how the show started, I was like, am I really in that yippee mood? But anyway,
we got it together.
We've got it together. So let me start off with, because on their show, you'll see it, saying Tino and Dr. Taffy in most of them. So I wrote it where I will introduce, Tina first. She's a Zimbabwean born visionary. I'm also Zimbabwean. And I love the fact that she put on a bio, currently age 35. Came to the United States when she was 12, pretty young. And I should say she is a whole American, because if she's 35, she's a whole American. And we will talk more about that. So as you will see and hear, she is a vibrant personality. And a passion, her passion is to serve, which I really love and what was drawn to that. We will hear more about her journey in this interview. So, you know what? Let me put, Tino on the stage. Tino, tell us about yourself. And I want to know what you're doing, what businesses you have, because you just strike me as a person that is in business, that is got this confidence. Go ahead, girl.
Well, thank you so much for having us. You know, we really do appreciate it. We appreciate you recognizing us. So that's really awesome. As you mentioned, my name is Tino, and I relocated to the US when I was 12. When we moved, we really didn't. Honestly, it was kind of a culture shock. Even sometimes, even though I have been in America for, almost, what is it, 23 years? No, actually 24. It's still kind of a culture shock because the core is a Zimbabwean, but I also have my American side. So as I was getting older, I went to college here, and I've always wanted, even just with my family, I've always wanted to do for them. I know even as my mom was working and taking care of us, I was always in the background doing those things that she needed, that she couldn't do. So I was always serving one way or another. So I just kind of discovered as I was going on that, I do enjoy serving, but I needed to kind of figure out, how do I serve? So I went to school and I got a social service degree. And I did that for a while, and I was going to school. I went back and I wanted to get a psychology degree, but I kind of discovered, yes, I do love serving, but I don't know if I love serving in the aspect of mental health. So I had to kind of step back and figure out, what am I going to do? So I kept working and just working it out. And I discovered that I love children and I love the elderly population. So why don't I begin a business where I can serve either one of those populations? To begin with, I wanted to do both. But there's no way you can do both. So I had to pick the elderly population. So I started working and figuring it out. And one day I woke up and I registered my business. And then after that, I just started going all over the place, all over Indianapolis, looking for, just dropping my cards all over the place. So from there, it kind of grew, and then COVID happened, and also not knowing how to navigate the system of, registering your business, what licensing you need, and this and that. Finally, I met a Zimbabwean here in Indianapolis who has the same business, and they became my mentor and kind of started coaching me on how to license my business, what I need to do. And my business now, is officially licensed. Now we're working on the next step of licensure. So it's honestly been a journey. And then also starting Zim Ladies with Taffy. And I also have an investment property company with my mom. So there's a lot going on. And sometimes it's overwhelming, but I'm like, wow, God, this is exactly what I wanted. And a lot of things started exploding a lot more. Last year, 2023, life began to explode even more into now, because we were talking about it with Taffy, that, oh my God, we have so much for Zim Ladies that we want to happen. And now it's happening. It's just falling into our laps. So that's just a little bit about me. I will keep talking. I'm long-winded. You kind of have to stop. I'm long-winded. One of the traits I got from my mother. So you'll have to cut me off at some point. Otherwise, we'll be here for 4 days.
But what I love about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
3 of us are Zimbabweans.
Mm-hmm.
And to have this opportunity to just have this, what I call a candid talk, right,
Mm-hmm.
is literally a blessing and also a dream for me, because then I want us to be able to share information that will help the next Zimbabwean that is here in this country, overseas somewhere, or at home in Zimbabwe somewhere, but is not seeing the light and is not seeing what next step they can take. And then here goes the 3 of us saying one thing that would just say, oh, that's me. I need to do that. That's me. I can do that. That's why you don't hear me stopping you anyway. because I want all of that to be shared so that that next person can testify that it was because the three of us got to this round table, one at the Zim Ladies Round Table first, which we spoke a lot about mental health, and then now here where we're going to talk about God knows what. I guess it's the next step, but we're talking about confidence, a woman's confidence, because that's what these ladies wanted us to talk about. And as you hear us all talking, you will see where confidence is a difference maker, and confidence is the key to making those dreams of yours come true. And also, if you're in the United States, we are in the land of dreams, right? So we want to tap into everything. So thank you for that introduction. Let me go to Dr. Taffy. Dr. Taffy, her full name is Tafadzwa Sithole. She's also a passionate individual dedicated to empowerment for girls and women. Before the show, her and I were here first, and we were talking about our ages. And, when you get on the computer, you started, I'm like, let me make sure my wrinkles are not showing. She's like, what wrinkles are you talking about? I said, girl, at 48, I better, not have any. She's like, you're 48? I'm turning 40 this year. So I need to ask her about her age. She's 39 years old. She was also born and raised in Zimbabwe. And now she resides right here, as she said, in Tennessee, in the United States. In addition to empowering women, she has a very unique talents. And I say unique talents because I've been in the business also of online business for the last 15 years. And I understand the importance of graphic designers and website designers. So when I see a woman do it, I was like, what? She can design websites and do all the graphics, right? And then to see that it's a Zimbabwean woman that is doing it right here in the United States, right? I mean, it's phenomenal. And that's why I wanted them here with me, today, to make sure that we can talk all about all those gifts and talents, and also how they've been able to navigate the systems here in the United States. So Dr. Taffy, over to you.
Well, like Dr. Stem said, Dr. Taffy, thank you for having us, Dr. Stem. I was born and raised in Zimbabwe. I came to the United States at about 20 years old. So I have been here about 19 years now. So after I left Zimbabwe, actually, I moved to Switzerland first. Because my father was working in Switzerland. So he thought, you know what, let me bring my daughter here instead of the US. My brothers lived in the US. But of course, he kicked me out of Switzerland because it was too expensive. And I had his credit card. So I had to leave.
Yes, so
he kicked me out. And that's when I came to the United States to pursue my degree in finance. I have an undergrad in finance and with a minor in management. And after that, I actually wanted to go back home, crazy enough, which I did for a little bit. In 2009, I went back home after my undergrad, and I worked at Econet in the finance department for a few months. And this was while I was going through my MBA application process and testing and all of that, and finally came back to the United States to get my MBA in marketing from Clark Atlanta University. And then I still wanted to go back home after that, right? I thought, I'd go back home, start some businesses and, not live with my parents. That was the plan. But my father has been in sport for a very long time. So somehow I don't know if I should say he encouraged me or he blackmailed me into pursuing a degree in sports management. So that's how I became doctor. I moved to Alabama If anyone knows Mobile, Alabama, it's very small and just a little country, but it's very quiet. It was the perfect place to pursue my doctorate. I was there for a long time before I moved to Nashville. I've been here in Nashville for about 4 years, and I have some circumstances that happened that landed me working in a home for people with disabilities. And at first I was like, oh my goodness, what am I doing here? But I absolutely grew to love the job. Just like Tino, I discovered that I love to serve. And I tried to get away from it after about a year of doing it, and I pursued other things. I was teaching at undergrad and graduate level sports classes, sports management classes. And somehow God brought me back to the field of service, right? So currently I'm a program director for a health services provider. We provide services to the disabled, intellectually disabled, physically disabled. I absolutely adore my clients, and I feel like they love me as well. So that's how I ended up over here. I enjoy the graphic designing. I designed our website. You guys should definitely visit our website, zimladiesrt.com. I designed our website. I've helped other people with their websites as well. I do all the graphics for Zim Ladies Roundtable and for some other businesses. I have basically they have monthly subscriptions with me when it comes to graphic designing. So it really started with Zim Ladies Roundtable. I didn't know how to do any of it until we started Zim Ladies Roundtable. And I learned how to do that. And that's what I do in my free time. I enjoy creating. I enjoy learning. I'm constantly taking some kind of class. Right now, I'm taking some classes as well. So I'm constantly learning. You'd say I'm a career student, right? So, and, my family is everywhere. And again, service is what I absolutely love to do, empowering women and girls and men as well. Zim Ladies is not just for the women. We know it says Zim Ladies Roundtable, but we also hope to have some kind of impact on the men in our lives as well.
Very true. Mm-hmm.
That is awesome. So you know what, talking about Zim Ladies Roundtable, I want to know, because the topic today is confidence in female relationships. So as you can see, these two decided to partner up and start Zim Ladies, but they must be friends because I just met them. So I want to know how long you guys have been friends. When did you start, talking about, hey, let's start a round table, and how it all started, because that would be a great story on Zim Ladies Roundtable, because right now as it thrives, I think everybody's going to want to know, how did it start? Who started it? How did you think about it? Let's go.
I think we've been friends for at least 10 years, right?
I believe so. We actually didn't even meet in person until after maybe
a few years, right?
Years, yeah. We met in a WhatsApp group.
Really?
Yeah.
We met in a WhatsApp group, a Zimbabwean WhatsApp group, and a few years later, I happened to go to Indiana, and I contacted Tino, and I was like, hey, I'm in town, finally we can get to meet, and we met, and we've been friends since then.
Yeah.
You're like sisters. You look alike. You've got the most beautiful smiles. I mean, you're just like sisters.
Yeah, that's really, honestly, and even for how Zim Ladies began, I didn't think of anybody else, because it started off as statements on Facebook, right? I would just write a statement on Facebook that would just have people talking, and the thread would be so long. It would be unbelievable. And guess who would be number one in that thread? Taffy. So we would be in there going back and forth. It would be hours, and the thread is going and going and going. Yeah. And then I was like, well, why don't we have like maybe let's start off with like a WhatsApp group where it's safe. Because a lot of times people didn't want to comment because they didn't want to be judged.
Yes. Yes.
So we started off, that's when we originally, unfortunately, was 3 of us.
Okay.
And now it's just Taffy and I.
Okay.
So we moved it over to a WhatsApp group, and it started out with 100 ladies, right? Yeah. It was called Power 100.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was called Power 100.
Yeah.
And all those ladies, that we would have conversations, and every week we'd pick a topic and we would discuss the topic. And then we had, was the tea weekly or once a month? How were we doing it?
I think it was, we started off with once a month.
Mm-hmm.
And then the ladies enjoyed it so much. We just started, I think, bi-weekly. We started doing it bi-weekly, and then we ended up doing it weekly for a while, where it was, we called it Zim Ladies Tea afternoon,
Saturday tea.
Yes. And the ladies would just hop on Zoom and would either most of the time we didn't need to throw out a topic, because somebody always had something that they wanted to, to discuss with the ladies, whether it was about friendship, if they were having trouble with their friends, their relationships, their children, health even. So we would just discuss all kinds of things. And initially we wanted it to be a short session, but the ladies would stay on for 2, 3, 4 hours, just having girl chat, so it was really amazing to provide the women with that platform to, just to be able to have some girls they can talk to freely and openly and not be judged, and also for them to see that whatever they're going through, other people might be going through the same thing as well. So that was pretty awesome. The chats in WhatsApp, it was, we had, I think almost everybody was participating in the conversation. So yeah, so it was really amazing. Imagine 100 women putting in their 2 cents. It was a wealth of information in that group.
And even the beginning of it started off, to be honest, for me, it was for selfish reasons, because I wanted to build a community of women. I wanted to improve my own female relationships. I wanted to improve my relationships with my female friends. So that's how it all began in my mind. That's how it was all working, like, oh my goodness. And then we're in this group with 100 women that are not in conflict, that are discussing issues that we all face every day. That was so empowering to me. I couldn't believe that these people were in this group every week. If you missed even 5 minutes when that topic hit the group chat, oh my God, you would be, it would be terrible. You would be in there scrolling, trying to figure, okay, so who said what, who said this? It was amazing. We honestly had a wonderful time when we were doing that, because people were really vulnerable. It's amazing how a lot of times people have a lot to say, but sometimes they're just afraid to say it, or they don't feel safe. And a lot of times women are just looking for safety. And there was safety in that group. And when I tell you, those people would share all sorts of things. And even on the Zoom, on the Saturday tea, sometimes nobody wanted to miss it. People were in the shower on Saturday tea on Zoom. And it was honestly, it was great when we were doing it. We really were thinking about bringing it back.
Yes. And we started during COVID. So I guess you can understand. So you can understand how, everybody was inside. The world kind of slowed down, and, not even slowed down. The world stopped for a little bit.
It sure did.
And, I think it gave us time to, to actually build those relationships with women, and just we had time to have those conversations as well. So I absolutely love the fact that even women with children would, they'll take time out of their day to join our afternoon tea, our Saturday tea, just to, have go chat. We met some of their kids, even though, come on and say hello to us.
Yeah.
We were just, it's just one big family, just, just a community of women that have love and just want to see each other grow and see each other be successful. We learned a lot. People would bring in whatever they, whatever their skills are, and teach other women. That was the whole point: teach and learn. So that was the most amazing part about it. I think everybody who was in the group, they walked away with something.
Yeah.
Exactly. We wanted it to be a network. Yes, we can have conversations, but then we wanted to take it a step forward with, people. There were some, I remember there was a girl in there she was bipolar, and she was looking for mental health services, but for some reason she just couldn't connect with the right doctor. And one of the ladies in the group said, okay, well, I know such and such. Why don't I give you their contact information and you reach out? And that's exactly what happened. So it became a network of services. If someone was looking for something, all they had to do was type it in the group, and there was always someone who would be able to connect them. And that's why we honestly wanted to have conversations with live conversations with either someone who's providing a service, an entrepreneur. So we would kind of spotlight those people so our ladies can have those resources.
Yeah, yeah. So we're talking about confidence today. And I like the fact that you guys mentioned that, women and men, literally, they look for safety. They look for environment, spaces, and places that they can be honest and talk about what's going on with them. And I'm wondering, do you have experience, with our own culture, literally having the most struggles, I think, as Africans, even particularly Zimbabweans, but as Africans, that it's difficult to literally express yourself or to talk about what's going on with you because of our culture and the expectations, that is instilled upon us.
Yes. So on the cultural aspect, I think that was one of the things that we discussed as well in our groups, the cultural aspect, because it actually affects every aspect of our lives, right? Coming from Zimbabwe, there's a lot of things that are too controversial, or that you can't openly say. But that was actually the reason that we created this group, right? To help women build that confidence to speak, to say what they're thinking, and not feel ashamed, or not feel like they're being judged by anybody. The confidence I can honestly say that personally, I've not always had confidence. Even to this day, confidence is a bit of a struggle sometimes, depending on the situation or the setting that I'm in, right? And when it comes to Zim Ladies Roundtable, recently we had a conversation about sexual wellness. And one of the things that we talked about is the cultural aspect. I struggled personally just to have that conversation, because I was thinking, what would my parents think? And I don't want them to hear this, to hear this conversation. But at the end of the day, just having the confidence to come out and say some things and talk about things that people think are taboo, because of our culture, and just breaking that barrier, when it comes to culture, and having these discussions was enlightening for me. It gave me more confidence, actually, being able to have that conversation. Even though when we started, it was a little rough. I was just like, okay, you know what I'm saying? But when I looked back at it, I was like, you know what? It wasn't that hard. It really wasn't that hard having this conversation. it's things we learn in school, right? So why do I look at it as why do I personally look at it as taboo? Not my culture, but I had to look at myself and think, do I really think of it as taboo? I don't, because it's part of our lives, right? So having to build that confidence, it's not easy because depending on your situation, your settings, and all that, it's something you have to look within. And sometimes you need that, that friend, that girlfriend that's just like, girl, come on, you got this. And it kind of helps at times to just, lift your head up high and have that conversation with yourself as well, because I do that a lot before I walk out the door. If I'm going into a setting where I'm just scared to step into, I have a conversation with myself, and I'm just like, you know what, you got this. Just bring out your personality. And and I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I know that. And I have to remind myself that, not everybody's going to like me, but at the end of the day, the people that understand where I'm coming from, understand my personality, then, we're good. Not everybody has to like me or think that the best thing since sliced bread.
And that was the biggest thing, was having relationships with other females without there being conflicts. Just because we're not each other's cup of tea doesn't mean we have to hate each other. It doesn't mean that when we see each other, it's instant dirty looks or anything like that. Hey, how are you? Oh, great. Oh, how's life? Great. And then you keep it moving. No conflict, no hatred. And that was one thing for myself that I wanted to work on, having good female relationships. Not that I was mean mugging anyone or anything like that, but there was always conflict with other individuals. Maybe as people, when they self-reflect, they don't like a person because of how they feel about themselves.
Yeah.
So a lot of times what I saw in myself was that I would try to befriend those individuals that did not like me, which is a toxic trait, because it does not turn out well. It never does.
Yeah. Yeah.
It never does.
Yeah.
And I had to learn within myself that, what, I need to learn to be accepted. I need to learn to be where I'm accepted, where I don't have to turn into something else in order to make a friend.
Yeah. Now,
which is why Taffy and I we get along pretty well. We equal each other for some reason.
You do.
We just mesh.
Yeah,
right.
I see that, thank you for that. So who started the Zim USA group that, because I think I saw you guys in that group as well.
That's me. I just,
it's not just the USA. There's USA, there's Australia. Which one? UK?
Yeah,
I was kicked out of the UK one.
What did you do?
No, that wouldn't have been me. No, you were not. You're in.
No. I was kicked out of the UK one. It was just recently, but then I found myself, my post being accepted in the USA one, but I was kicked out of the, and I think, what, we are talking about also being with, people where you're celebrated and not tolerated, and also being in the right space. And I being in the US for 36 years, right? My heart has always been, teach me everything that I need to learn so that I can also teach my people, So I do all these programs, I do all these, free challenges, I create programs and everything. And instead of charging $1,000, I'm charging $90, or I'm charging $100 for, $5,000 coaching. But I want my people to have access to it. But at the same time, I also have to pay my bills, right?
Right.
So there's also that thin line in there of being excited to say, listen, there's more that we don't know. But then, because if I'm sitting in a room and I'm being trained on, how to build a 6-figure online program, right? And I'm looking around and I don't see anybody who looks like me. Neither can I see somebody who speaks Shona, Ndebele, Nyanja, or anything. I'm like, oh, okay. I gotta go out there and tell them that I was the only one in there. Let me share with. So that's where my heart, has been, and that's where. So when I share and you see oversharing in there, I'm like, maybe you might not see it today, but if you see it tomorrow, please take some time to look at it, because I know it has changed other people's lives. It can change our lives too. Thank you, Dr. Taffy. I don't want to get amiss, because I really appreciate you. Because for some reason, I was like, I see my post in there. I was like, oh, somebody's, accepting this post and putting them here, because my heart is in the right place. I look at my caseload and I don't see any of our people on there. And I'm sharing things that people are coming and giving testimonials and saying, Doc, I can't tell you, after having, seen you for this long, or I took that program of yours that you did, and I went through it, Doc. I can't. So when I hear that testimonial there, I'm like, but my people need it too, because then we don't want to be suffering when we are here in the United States and there are opportunities. And even if you don't have papers, there are things that you can do. I didn't get my papers until I was 19 years in the country. That's when I finally got a breakthrough getting my papers. But in the 19 years, man, I was learning and going in through doors and say, I'm from Africa. I don't have any money, but I want to learn this here, and I learned a lot. So as far as resources are concerned, I'm also very, very resourceful, but didn't know how and where to put it. Because when you go into the church platforms, you got to be all about Jesus. When you talk about business and making money, it's like, oh, humble yourself before you go. Thanks, Doc. So, thank you very much, because I was going to find out. I'm like, I need to find out who the people that started this and say thank you. So my next question, a request, since I have the horse's mouth here, can we do some lives where we come out in that group live like this year and do different topics, and also have different people that have different things, but to have lives in that group, and people can come to you, ask you, can I do a live here? You advertise it, people come live. And because I think, that's another way of also continuing the same programs, once a month, once every 2 months or something. Is that something that you would consider?
Absolutely. Okay. That's really the I'm always open to to suggestions. I created that group probably 10 years ago almost.
Oh my goodness. I just found
out. No, I know that I actually have you on auto post. So I don't even have to, your post automatically post on my group. I remember.
Oh, no wonder why, because I keep seeing them without admin approval. I was like,
they go in right away.
They are automatic, because I absolutely love the things that she posts. She posts a lot of things that that are helpful and useful to people. And when I realized that you're not posting nonsense, I was just like, you know what? I don't even have to regulate what she posts or anything, because these are things that people need to see, right? So and I do have some people that that came and asked for that group. They asked, can we have it? And I said, no, but we can work together though. And, because at the end of the day, the reason I even created it was to, have a space where Zimbabweans can, get in all kinds of information. If you go on the group, people are asking, just simple things like, are there any Zimbabweans in Tennessee?
I know, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Just the simplest things. And then people are looking for jobs, asking immigration questions, asking for help. We have people that, come on and they ask for help. And when people see that, this is somebody that is here with a genuine issue, people help each other in the group. People advertise their businesses. We try to regulate the number of, we try to only accept businesses that, benefit mostly people in the USA, because that's what the group was created for. So I know a lot of people, we decline a lot of posts, but we also don't want to spam the group or, with because you have 20 construction posts. That's not really bringing any information, but somebody can post asking, are there any construction companies that I can go to? Just recently, somebody posted that they were looking for construction companies that work with people in the diaspora that are trustworthy, right? So I prefer when people do that instead of, posting all the construction companies.
Yes.
Instead, right? So that was really the point, just, even tying it with Zim Ladies Roundtable, it's, we love to bring resources to the people. And that's just something I absolutely enjoy doing, and just, making life easier for people. You just go, you know what, let me just go in the group and check. Maybe, somebody posted about mental health in the group. Let me just go search and see if I can find anything. So there's a lot of, gems in that group. So I appreciate that you find it useful. So
I really do. I really do. And like your heart, I think the three of us are in agreement that our heart is on also helping each other as Zimbabweans, so that people can be confident enough. So if you are watching this show today, or you will be watching it after, I want you to know that, especially for the Zim, group, the USA group, do not be afraid to ask a question. If at all you are intimidated by asking your question in there, do inboxes and just inbox someone with a question. I've also noticed that they do anonymous. Put anonymous in there and ask a question, because then it's not easy to survive in this country or any other place, when you don't know and you don't have information. So many a time, I know we are all three of us in business and we have things that we are doing, but then there are one or two questions that literally you don't have to be charged for it. You can be given a free resource, on it. So do not be afraid to ask, for that. And that's where that confidence, also comes into. Do I want to ask, can I ask, is it okay to ask? Confidence is about getting information, because without the information, it's very difficult for one to even build their confidence, and do something. What about relationships and confidence? What do you guys think about that? The marital relationship, love relationships, and confidence. Does that play a part? I mean, is confidence even, significant in relationships?
It's definitely a requirement, because there sometimes, especially in romantic relationships, you never want to walk in with low self-esteem. In anything in life, you never want to walk in not having strength, because you're going to find that there are going to be challenges with all relationships, that there are going to be challenges. There are moments where we have conflict. We're fortunate, though, that we know how to deal with it, and it doesn't get to a level where it destroys the relationship. So in romantic relationships, you just have to have strength. In being a daughter and being a friend, being an employee or being an employer, you have to have strength. And with that strength comes in confidence. So it's always, and it's not something that happens overnight. We're all still building our confidence. There are moments, I always tell one of my friends that I always have to watch podcasts and listen to podcasts or read things and whatnot to keep myself up, because life will tear you down. So you honestly have to work at it. It's a journey. It's not a one-day thing and you're fixed.
Doc, I'm not going to leave you alone. What you think?
So I absolutely agree. Confidence, you can't walk into any situation with low self-esteem or low confidence. I do believe that having confidence in a relationship, it gives you, I feel like it helps you have open communication, right? Yeah. Honest and open communication, because that's open and honest communication is very crucial, right, for establishing trust and building a relationship. And it's hard to be open when you don't have that confidence within yourself, because you're not going to be able to express yourself. You're not going to be able to, to say what you mean and mean what you say at the end of the day. And just even being consistent when you're not confident, where does that consistency come from? You kind of become that flip-flopping person when you don't, when you're confident within yourself, you know who you are, and you stay, no matter what situation you're in or what setting you're in, you always remain that same person, whether you're, with your open communication, your reliability, just shared values with people, and you won't know that unless you're confident to even have those conversations with people. So or even in relationships. And confidence also, just, I think it plays a part in, empowering each other in a relationship. I feel like, that's part of your, you have to be able to empower the other person and empower yourself. You have to remain empowered yourself in any relationship. And without confidence, that can be a little difficult, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, ladies, we could talk forever. Now I understand what Tino has said. So, before we finish, you all have just inspired me to also put on my. I wish I had, they were right there. And I'm like looking at you two now. I'm like, they got their glasses on. I should have my glasses on. I just got these 2 days ago, so I need to get used to wearing them. And that's when you really realize that I'm not 16 years old anymore. Your eyes.
For me, it's the light, right? Mostly the light. It really, because when you started, I wasn't wearing them, and I found myself squinting a little bit. So
yeah. So, ladies, let me tell you, because you began my year with, this invitation, I am so intrigued by you. And, one of the things that I also am not shy about, I don't know if you speak Shona or Ndebele. Is it Shona or Ndebele?
Shona.
Oh, both of you, Shona. Okay, good. There's a saying in Shona that's saying, Ukanyara haugwazi in Shona. If you are embarrassed, if you shy away from things, you never, get anywhere, or you won't get, new people, new connections. I prayed for divine connections, I'm telling you. So you guys are really my divine connections for this year. I want to invite you openly right here, and you guys can email me or talk to me, but I want both of you to write a chapter in my Bounce Back book too.
Wow.
Yes, because, and I'm being selfish. I'll tell you why. I'm being selfish because I want to do a book launch in Tennessee and another book launch in Indiana. So, it wouldn't be bad to have the Zim ladies having a chapter in the book. So I'm going to invite you guys to be a part of that. And for those of you that are listening or watching, if you don't know, last year, so during the pandemic, they were talking about having started the Zim Ladies Roundtable and, the women empowerment group that they had. I decided to start the Bounce Back Empowerment Conference during the pandemic because for some reason, I knew that I was going to make it on the other side of this pandemic. God was just protecting me. And I knew that there will be many of us that will see this moment, this day. So I said, why don't we start talking about bouncing back? And as we do so, because I'm one of those people, I like to motivate, inspire, encourage, empower, so that we don't see the darkness, we don't see the problems, but we just see the light, right? I said, let's bounce back. So it's very exciting. This year will be 5 years of the Bounce Back Empowerment Conference. And, you guys will be seeing the two ladies. They promised me they're coming to Boston because it's going to be in Boston. So you're going to see a table with the Zim Ladies Roundtable in there. But I want them to be also launching the bestseller Bounce Back Book 2 in there. And anybody else who wants to join us, I'm in the selection, process right now. We are selecting, the authors. We just don't take every everybody, but most people will qualify. So don't shy away. Have the confidence to say, Doc, I want to do it too. Let's talk, and we'll do, a talk in exchange of what that entails. So ladies, I'm extending this, and that's something that we can talk after the show, because then I want us to be able to collaborate again and do more work together, because confidence is collaboration. And once you collaborate, let me tell you, that CASH word comes through, because they know what I don't know, and I know what they don't know, and you know what we don't know. So there's always room for collaboration, right, ladies?
Very true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. We're honored. Absolutely.
Yes, yes. So I want to also give a props up, Doc. I have a young lady that I hired 2 years ago. Her name is Dadirai Jinjika. And she's 20, she's going to kill me. She's 20 something years old, but young lady in Zimbabwe, was doing posts and graphics and everything. And I reached out to her. She's like, oh, yes, I do. Very shy. And she says, yes, I do websites. And yes, I do graphics. So I hired her. So everything that you see on my websites and all the posts and the videos and stuff, this young lady is doing it from my hometown, Waterfalls, in Harare, Zimbabwe, doing it. So, I want her to know that, she's got a big sister role model here in you, who's also doing phenomenal work in the work that you're doing as a graphic designer, because I think it's an upcoming thing that women didn't used to do. And I don't know, if it was for you just natural, but I think it was a barrier that men just owned it and honed on it, no?
Oh, yeah. Men definitely have been dominating that space, but I feel like, we've got so many resources now, so that, that make it easier for women to, to break that barrier and to enter to graphic designing. Even just the learning process of it has become a lot easier, with the internet and, YouTube, TikTok and all that, even, if you have a, you don't have to have a flair for it. You just have to have a passion for it. And with that passion and the confidence, you can absolutely learn how to do any of these things. And, speaking of confidence, I've always struggled with getting myself out there as well. And it took a lot of people to really say, you know what, you're good at this. Come on, get yourself out there, get yourself out there, get yourself out there. Tino being one of them. And
oh my God, we would go back and forth. When we first started, DrStem, this lady, she's like, no, I'll just do the technical stuff in the back. I said,
oh my gosh, yes.
We're all gonna be there. There is no way. There's no way. Now we cannot get Taffy off the Instagram lives. I'm the one who has to cut her off. Like, we have to get off. She will not.
You're right. I actually used to refuse to get on the lives. I deliberately had us schedule them on a day I was working, and that's how
it did not work. She had to show up. Well, it was unacceptable.
But I mean, I honestly can't even tell you how I was able to build that confidence. But I would actually love to give props to Tino, because Tino has been consistent with it, from the beginning, getting on live and having that confidence. And I had to look at Tino and I was like, okay, you know what? Tino is doing this. And, now it's just the two of us. Tino has this confidence and she can speak. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know, I don't like speaking. People think because I have titled doctor that I actually love speaking in front of people. But I do struggle with that as well.
The funny thing is, I just have to tell myself, you have to do it. Otherwise, you will forever be in fear. When any live anything begins, I'm literally fighting inside. I'm at war with myself, and then I'll calm down and be like, "You've done this before. You love to talk, and as you can see, once I start talking, it's hard to stop me." So it is confidence that you have to keep growing every single day. Otherwise,
oh yeah. Have that internal conversation with yourself, and pray
yeah.
about it too. If
Mhm.
you're God-fearing, and if that's something that that's part of your life, praying about it as well, praying for confidence, praying for discernment, praying for divine connections as these.
Mhm.
Tino and I never thought that would be invited to anybody's show. We just hop on, and we're just thinking we're giving all these resources and highlighting people, and we never really thought about us being invited anywhere. So
Right.
DrStem being the first one to invite us as well. Yes.
Really?
Can you believe it? No one has invited us anywhere. I couldn't
Anywhere.
believe it.
You're going to be tired of being invited. There's a glow that comes, with the two of you. There's a passion that comes with the two of you. So as I said, I'm in my 50s and, going into the 60s. And one of the things that I love doing is also to encourage and pull up the different age groups so that you guys can be there for your age group, and the 20-somethings can be there for their age groups. And I've worked with teenagers, and I'm inspiring the ones that are in the 15s, 16s to be there for their age group, because then we don't want this vibrancy to go once we are gone and we're no longer here. They also are going to need the guidance. They also are going to need the empowerment, the encouragement. So I'm so excited when I meet, two people like yourselves. I'm like, whoa, this is exactly what I've been looking for. So as you can see, my shows are 30 minutes long. And at this point, I just I don't care how long it takes. We're going to talk until we are tired. And, it's really been, inspiring, encouraging, empowering, because we are three different people with three different visions and dreams that we're talking about that are starting to unfold or have unfolded. But because we hung on in there, we never gave up, it's starting to just line up. What I love about being a believer is when we think that God is not doing what we're asking and it's not working out, and why is this here? He's like, well, that's when I'm literally doing most of my work. When you think you're struggling, I'm just putting the pieces together, right? Yeah.
It's very true.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So this is a divine moment, and there's much more that we are going to, we're going to be doing. So get yourselves ready, because I have programs, I just started a membership that I'll be talking about, it's called My Best Life tribe, which is what we all want, our best life. So I will be inviting, guest speakers to those platforms, and I want you guys to be ready. It's not about being a professional or anything, but it's about being you and literally saying, I have no idea why I ended up in here, but let me tell you my journey, just like you guys did today. That's what every woman and every man is looking for. How do I become the best version of myself? How can I express myself and not be shy about it and not be scared about it, but just be me? And once we can do that, a lot begins to open up, and that's the confidence.
Amen. That's true.
All right. Any words of parting before we call it quits?
Ooh, words of parting. Sticking to our topic, confidence. You don't necessarily need anyone to help you build your confidence. You have to find it within yourself. And yes, we do need people, but confidence comes from within. And just remember that, yes, you might not be everybody's cup of tea, but there are lots of people that love you, and lots of people that will support you and encourage you. And, just get yourself out there. If you have a business, if you have, if you have things to say, everybody has something to say. So just get yourself out there. You'll never know what great heights you can get up to if you don't get yourself out there.
Very true. I second that. I agree.
In addition to that, I don't want to say contrary to that. In addition to that, I want to also encourage people. the way that we are brought up, who we are, our genetic makeup also contributes to whether we become confident or not. And working on those things with a professional to really dig deeper when you've done your best and nothing seems to work and you literally are feeling anxious and depressed or just hopeless and helpless, please, we want to encourage you to be able to speak with the professional, because that's what mental health is all about. And we all have issues, like one of my sister's t-shirts says we all have issues. It's nothing bad about it, but we all have struggles. If I were to change that, I would say we all have struggles. So with those struggles, they literally can get in the way of you becoming confident. So in addition to what Doc and Tino said, please also be open to seeking professional help and working with a professional to dig deeper and release yourself from those bonds or binds. All right. So with that, like I said, you're going to see these two ladies in Bounce Back Book 2. You're going to see them at the Bounce Back Empowerment Conference. I can't wait to meet them because their energy is just palpitating. That's the word, right? Palpitating. So, ladies, thank you once again. And I can't wait to see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to be on Instagram, and I will be inviting you guys to help me with my Instagram because they're experts on Instagram now. So we're going to do this.
We got you, Dr.
ladies.
Stem.
We
Thank
got
you so
you.
much.
Anytime